What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Takara Tomy Transformers Masterpiece Gattai Shouki. So this is the first in the series of train bots that make up the Combiner Raiden. It's their first Combiner in the Masterpiece series, or MPG line. It's the first MPG figure as well. Now, I was sort of doubtful that this was actually a Masterpiece. I thought maybe MPG meant it was not Masterpiece, or it was part of a different, maybe the Chug line. But it is in fact meant to be Masterpiece. And the reason I say that is on the back of the box, they have a picture. It says scale, and it shows you with all bunch of Masterpiece figures. You got Prowl, Ultra Magnus, and Sideswipe. So at least from their own box, I can say this is intended to be Masterpiece. Now, the train here is pretty cool looking. Let's take a look. You got the beige paint here all throughout. You got the blue here, a little bit of yellow right there, silver on the top for the roof. Some nice details. You got the little wing here. Slightly different color on the nose. Some translucent plastic here for the headlights. Blue paint down here all along the bottom. And then silver here for this back door. You have the little train connector piece here, which we'll take a look at when we get the next one. Yes, I am getting the next one, believe it or not. Here's the bottom. You do have wheels. These don't rotate like they did on the Moon Studio ones, but it does roll on those. It does actually come with tracks. So you get two pieces here. They're actually pretty nice looking tracks. They kind of remind me of model train tracks, but you do want to attach them here. You don't want to attach them the other way because you want these holes lined up this way. So make sure you get them attached. And the reason you want that is so you can actually use the stand. I'll show you that in just a minute. These wheels will fit in here, but it's very, very finicky. You get it in there on the track, perfectly placed, and as you're rolling it, it falls off. I don't know. It's a very strange thing. I'm not sure why. I'm looking at it from the side, and you can get it on there, but it just loves to come off. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if they just sculpted it wrong or what. But as far as the display piece, though, if you just set it there, it does look really nice on those tracks. And I assume you get more of these, it'll probably be lots of straight track since the wheels don't turn. They're not going to give us a curved piece, but there you go for that. Now you can take this, and this will become a stand. So you're going to take this stand piece from any of the Masterpiece figures. This is from the MP52 Starscream. So you can just plug that into there. That's why I said you had to attach it this way. This is the adapter that comes with it. I had it plugged in there, but you need to do a little bit of work to get it to work here. So first, you're going to go ahead and lift up on these pieces here. Pull this upwards. We're going to rotate this way. And then we're going to push this back in. So it just kind of sits on the two of those inside of those pegs. Then we're going to take this panel here, and that's going to fold downwards and sit right there. And that exposes that slot. And that's where this is going to fit in. So get this pegged into there, like so. And then that can tab in. So just like the stand has been before, you do have to tighten this screw. This is not that heavy, so it holds pretty good. But some of the figures that this is intended to hold, it doesn't really hold. But this one seems to work fine. So you can recreate the scene from the show where he's flying. Actually, the whole crew is flying into space. So that's the intent. All right, we do also get a few other accessories. So you get this gray handgun here. It's unpainted. It's just this gray swirly plastic. You can fold up the tip here. Come to the bottom. There is a tab here. There's a slot on the bottom. It's supposed to tab into there. But it just doesn't want to stay. I don't know if it's the plastic or something happened. I'm not even sure, but it just doesn't want to stay. It just pops off. So it's very unfortunate. I got it to stay, I think, once, but now it seems to be popping off. So in theory, you can store that. You can also put some seats in here, and actually I just popped this open, but to get this open, you actually want to push down here with your thumb. That'll allow you to take this entire cab and fold it down. Then you can pull off these sections here, and you can see there's actually two seats. These are actually detachable. There's two little tabs on the bottom. They'll fit into there. And this allows you to put the smaller figures from MP22 Ultra Magnus or the original MP10 version of Spike, but I think that's intended to work with these guys because they were in the Headmaster series. But you can put them in there in that little seat. Probably put the other one in there. It'll be a tight fit if you put both of them, but you can do that. Then you're going to take this, fold that up, fold up this side, make sure this works its way underneath. And he came out already. And I know this fits, so make sure you get those tabs underneath. All right, and then the same on this side. Close this up, get the tabs underneath, and make sure both sides got reseated. They like to come unseated, but there you go. There he is riding inside. You can see him inside that train. Yay! You can do that. You can also store this, which is the chest plate for the combined mode. Now, you do have to remove all that stuff we just put in there. So if you push down again here, hold this down, open this up, take him out, take out your seats. Then you're going to take this and make sure you fold it in such a way that this tab ends up on the top, because that's going to tab into right here. So get that tabbed in. Then go ahead and push this back up and close it up just like we did before. You know, make sure you get all these tabs back into place. And there you go. We've got storage for the chest plate. And for size comparison, there it is next to the Masterpiece version of Hound and of Skids. Yeah, clearly this doesn't make sense in scale. It's too small. It's really the height and the width of this thing. But I just wanted to show it some modern masterpieces. This is like the latest Carbot we've gotten. And yeah, it doesn't really fit. And for one more comparison, I know people want to see, here it is next to the Moon Studios Moonshine. And yeah, again, you know, even this one, when you put it next to an MP figure, it does still seem like it could be bigger. But this one is obviously, you know, nowhere near the scale it needs to be a train. All right, now let's get him transformed into his robot mode. Relatively simple start, but the finish is kind of complicated. Let's go ahead and get this folded down just like we did before. You can open this up. We're going to fold down these panels here on both sides. And that's going to allow you to basically separate all of this. So lift up on these wheels. And they are pegged in here and here, so make sure you get them up and out. And that's just enough room to separate the legs. All right. Separate these arms. And now we can take this panel and fold to the back. And we'll take care of this in just a second, just leave it back there. But now we'll take care of the legs. So come to the inside, open up this panel here. That'll allow you to accordion this out about halfway. Then you're going to rotate so the knee ends up inside. Then we're going to fold this up, and that's going to tab in like that. All right. Bring this back down. That's going to tab in there. Bring this panel all the way around. And just make sure you clear everything over here. Fold that panel in on the top. This is going to just sit right in there. It's not the most secure connection, but that is where it goes. Right. Next, we're going to take the foot and accordion it down on this panel here. We're going to take this panel here, and that's going to fold upwards. Fold the toe forwards. You're going to take this entire panel, rotate this up this way, bring this down, and that's going to make the bottom of the foot. And it just kind of clicks back on this side. So that's one leg pretty much done. Let's do the other one basically the exact same way. So go ahead. This is slightly different, so I'm going to actually talk about this one. So take this wheel piece, that's going to rotate down. Make sure you fold this out of the way. Do the same thing. We're going to lift this up, accordion this out, And then once you have it according out, that'll allow you to rotate the knee. All right. This has to slide down on this slider right here. So make sure you slide that down. And that's going to come back down and sit on the inside of the leg. Right. Then go ahead and take this panel, swing this back around just like the other one. Make sure you close up this panel on the top. And that's also going to tab into here on the side. Right. So basically the difference is this leg has the wheel on the back of it. All right, go ahead and pull this away. It's on a little tab here, so you want to pull it kind of outwards and then away. Go ahead and open this up, fold this foot down, rotate this to the back, and then tab that back in for the bottom of the foot. So let's work on the arms. So go ahead and take this panel here and untab it from the side. It can be a little bit tricky. It's tabbed in there. All right, once you get that, open it up like this. And we have to get this rotated all the way around. It's a little weird the way it works, but fold this panel in, and that should give you just enough clearance to slip it by and rotate the whole thing around. So that's really what you want, right? You want this to come down and be straight, and this to be on top. Come to the inside here. There's a panel right here. Fold that down. That's going to tab in to his obliques or whatever muscle that is. I don't know. Rotate the arm to the outside. Open up this panel. Flip out the hands and then close that back up. And then bring this panel down on the top. All right, same on this one. Now fold this way. Push it back in. And then close those side pieces down. They should fit around the little glass pieces. If it's not, you don't have something right? You might have this piece rotated, so make sure you have that rotated properly. And then get it situated. Bring the head out, rotate this around, and there is a slot on the back of that neck, and that's going to actually plug into this. So this can be also a little bit tricky, so make sure you have this folded downwards. This is going to come down, and we're going to flip this around. So basically, bring this panel out, rotate this around, open up this panel here. This is actually what holds the neck in, so make sure that makes its way into the neck. You can push that slider back in. And these also make up his pylons too. So make sure all that gets in there. And if it's not going in, you don't have something right. Make sure you have all of these panels lined up. And then get this in here. And tabbed in and locked in place. All right, now we can deal with this mess. This is going to come around like this. This is going to fold back on itself. And make sure this goes all the way around. So this is a double hinge here, so make sure that opens up. This is going to fold flat down on itself, and then make that double hinge make an L. And now we're going to take this little tab right here. That's going to fit onto this. So make sure this is inside. It likes to come out, but go ahead and get this tabbed in right there. Yes, that's how it goes. It's not the most secure, but it will sit back there. You just got to get it lined up. All right, and there you have Shouki in his robot mode. Kind of a complex transformation for something somewhat chuggish in scale, but here he is. He got some nice detail and paint. Got a nice Autobot logo, some yellow here. The head sculpt is pretty nicely done. I like the paint and the look overall. The front of the legs look pretty good, but as soon as you get to the side or the back, it kind of falls apart. I mean, it's a mess. It's a huge mess back here. Both the backpack and the legs are very, very kibbly. Lots and lots of stuff hanging off. But from the front, it does look pretty good. By the way, you are standing. He's on top of these panels. These are fully painted, the beige and the blue. So just be aware that I'm on a soft surface here, but if you're on a hard surface, you're probably going to scratch up that paint. So just be aware of that. He does come with a blaster here. Again, it's just the gray plastic, and that's one of the issues. You can bend his elbow here, open up the hand. We'll talk about that articulation a little bit later, but you can tab that in, and there you go. There he is with his blaster. And this arm likes to pop out because it's a very tight joint up top, but there you go. You also get the chest piece, which we had before. It still can stow away, so if you undo the backpack that we did before, you still have that little tab piece there, so this can fit in the same spot that it did in the terrain mode and basically just hide away the same way. To tab back in, sometimes that can be difficult to tab in, but there you go, everything's stowed away. That's at least how I would want it. So yeah, I don't see a place for the seats, and I didn't see anything in the instructions about them, so I think they just sit along the side and stay there. I also don't think there's a place for the stand adapter here. So let's see, does this fit? May fit, let's see. Yeah, you might be able to get this stand adapter on here, so if you wanted him kind of in a flying pose, you could do that. I'm not going to do that, but you could have him in kind of a flying pose on the stand since the adapter fits. And there you go for his accessories. And let's go over his articulation. So the head is on a ball joint, gets up to there, down to there, side to side movement, rotates all the way around. It is hindered a little bit by these bits on the side, but you can't get it around that. The shoulders go up to there on friction, around on friction. It does run into his panel here. You can move that out of the way. Get the arms all the way up. Rotation at the bicep. It is on a what do you call it? A mushroom peg, and sometimes the mushroom peg pops off if you rotate the arm, so you just have to be careful with that. It is a kind of grayish swirly plastic here for the arms. This part is painted. I think the legs are unpainted, but then obviously the thighs, the train part is painted. Continue on, you do have a I guess it's a double jointed elbow, so it does get you the full bend, but there's a lot of stuff in the way. He's just gets in his own way here. But rotation at the wrist. The fingers I showed before are on a single pin. You can move the pointer finger separately, but of course it's curled, so it doesn't do you any good. And then the thumb is on a pin as well. Get you some unnatural movement there. We'll just take this gun out for now. You have a waist rotation. Just have to be careful not to knock off the backpack. It does come off relatively easily there. No ab crunch on this. Anyway, hip skirts will move out of the way. Legs are on a very, very soft ratchet. I mean, it doesn't even seem to hold, honestly. Anyway, it's on a ratchet. It goes up to there, back to here, hindered by all the kibble. Out to the side on friction. Again, not strong enough to hold. Rotation at the thigh. Double jointed knee gets you the full bend, and you have a little cover down piece. That's nice. This panel tends to sometimes pop out as well, so you really want to get that a good squeeze when you get it in there. These ankles will drop down, so you can get more movement out of it, but sometimes this foot pops apart. But side to side, you do get back and forth here at that inner joint, so you want it all the way down to get the maximum movement out of it. And then the toe moves a little bit, but you really want to use that. And for size comparison, there he is next to the MP44 Optimus Prime and the MP22 Ultra Magnus. He comes up to basically about their waist. Scales in the eye beholder. It does feel a little small to me, but there you go. And just to show you with chug scale, there it is next to the Earthrise Optimus. This makes a lot more sense, at least to me anyway. So for me personally, I think this is scaled much more appropriately with a chug or retail figure. Alright, now let's get him transformed into his combined mode. Just as a side note, you can leave the gun pegged down here for storage, but you do need to take the chest piece out of here, because obviously we need the chest piece for the combined mode. So just set this aside for now, and we'll start off with the arms. So again, lift these up out of the way. The arms are going to rotate 180 degrees, and you may knock it off the panel here. But open up the panel, hide the hands in, and then close that back down. Same on this side. Rotate 180 degrees. Put the panel, put the hand in, and close that down. All right, next we're going to come to the backpack here. Go to unpeg this and just set that aside for now. And take all of this. This is going to lift up and out where it's pegged in from the neck. Pull this out on this slider here. We're going to take all of this, and this is going to rotate around the other way. You're going to fold this back in. And this is going to end up sitting on the back. But we'll take care of this in just a little bit. So we're going to take care of these arms. So go ahead and take these panels, or sorry, these arms. Unpeg them from in here on both sides. And just put those up like that. We need to rotate the waist a bit. So actually, I lied. Don't push this in. So go ahead and rotate this waist. Then you're going to rotate up here. And make sure you give yourself enough clearance to clear around this. So you should end up with something like this, right? Where he is facing backwards, but his midsection is facing forwards. Go ahead and fold these chest pieces up. That's kind of, it's not going to secure it, but it's just going to sit like that. And there's a couple of tabs. Go ahead and straighten this all out. And this is going to end up down here. It's kind of weird, but come to here. We're going to take this, rotate it around 180 degrees, collapse this down. This is going to fold in and then push in. So it's going to sit flush up against this. All right, now that we have that, we can take this whole piece. This is going to tab in. Let's see. You can fold this up. This is going to tab in right here. So there's two tabs. You're going to get onto his back. Those are actually kind of hard to hit. So I would suggest you do that now while we have everything visible. So go ahead and get these tabs in to there. It's kind of tough. Okay, there we go. You can close down this little peg here. All right, and then this is going to peg onto the back here. You can see there's two slots. They're going to hit these two tabs. So go ahead and fold this upwards. This is going to tab into the top here, and then it's going to tab in the bottom, and should end up with something like that. All right. For the arms, you're going to take these, and this is kind of interesting the way they did it, but rotate at the shoulder. You can lift up that panel. And then that's going to allow you to take this arm, collapse it down at the elbow. Actually, at both elbow joints, so it's a double jointed elbow. And you should end up with something like that, right, with it on the side of the arm. And you can actually get this tabbed back in now that you have it folded like that. So you get this tab back into the side. And this is just going to sit around it. Right, and this can go on the top. Same for this side. So get the shoulder rotated 90 degrees and rotate the arm. Ugh, and I really don't like the way this mushroom peg likes to come off, but this is going to fold down and in, and then we're going to tab it in down here onto the side, and make sure you have it rotated. It is on a ratcheted joint there, so make sure you have it rotated. Make sure these are straightened up. There isn't really anything that holds this other than the friction between these two, so just get it centered there. Back and sit on the top. These wings, we're going to come to the side, fold up that gun or whatever it is, and then fold up this piece here. Personally, I find that to be a little bit ugly, but that is how it works. This is going to come in, fold this in, and this is going to make its way on the inside, and then it's going to tab in and kind of hold all this together. It's not the most secure, but it does loop around and notch into place right here. All right, so that's one side. Let's do the other one. Open this up, then rotate this, and then put this back down. All right. Fold this up, fold that out. This is going to fold in and then come to the inside and peg into here. And then close that down. The head is just going to sit back down inside the cavity like that. Last step here is to take the legs, and like I mentioned before, you can leave this in here. You can collapse the ankles down so that they're flush. You can take one leg, fold it back, and it's going to basically just sit like this. It doesn't really lock into anything, to be honest. And then same on the other side, fold this up. And then these two have two tabs, so get them tabbed together securely. And it's just going to sit here on the back. It doesn't really lock into anything. It just sits there. All right, and the last step here is to take our chest panel here. This tab is going to sit right on top. So put that in first, and then this hole is going to fit around this peg. So get the top in first, and then put the peg on the bottom in. And there you go. All right, and there we have Shouki in combined mode. It looks pretty good, again, straight on, but there's a lot of stuff going on. I guess both the Moon Studio had a lot too, but it's just a little bit fiddly, like it doesn't lock in place. Like the chest piece locks in place as I showed you, but this one just kind of just moves around. And I guess this is supposed to hold it. Also, these are painted pieces, so you have to be careful with the paint. But it just feels a little kind of unfinished. I don't know how else to say it. It doesn't come with the head, obviously, so the head's going to come with another figure in the combiner set. For now, we can just take this head, put it there. Obviously, that's not the combiner head, but here you go. Not bad. Now, you can use the stand again here. So let's bring that back in. And the adapter piece will fit onto here. There's just a rail for this to go onto, and then that's going to go onto your stand. And there it is on the stand. I don't know. I'm not sure if this is... I guess it's useful until we get the full combiner, right? Because if you wanted to display it, somebody wanted to display it like this, you can. But yeah, there you go. Now for size comparison, there it is next to the Zeta Toys torso for their version of Bruticus. And you can see it is not going to scale with Masterpiece. It's just its own thing. If anything, it'll probably scale with Chug, you know, your retail line of Transformers. Especially if you have the Headmasters, this combiner will go nicely with retail Headmasters. But there you go for comparison. So final thoughts on the Transformers Masterpiece Gattai Shouki. Let's start with the positives. I think the paint looks good overall, especially in the vehicle mode. The vehicle mode is probably the strongest of all three modes. It really looks like the train, and the paint and the sculpt also really help it kind of pull off that realistic train. The robot one also looks pretty good, with especially the blue paint on the front. And straight on, you definitely get the best look. Now, posing it here, I did struggle to get in a pose where I could hide most of this, but from almost any angle other than straight on, you can see all of this stuff hanging off the back, off the side, the legs kind of being kind of, you know, waffly and kibbly. You know, don't really love that. But you can sort of just display it straight on and get it to look good. The combine mode, also not the greatest looking of the three. And it really, you know, it's got me concerned about what the final is going to look like. Other positives, you do get some nice accessories. You get the gun here, you get the tracks, which allow you to display it in train mode, but also in the flight stand if you want to. So that's all nice and useful for display. Negatives-wise, this plastic that they used here for the gun and the arms is unpainted and swirly gray. I really can't stand when they use swirly gray. I guess in retail it makes sense, right? Because it's a cheaper plastic, but on a Masterpiece, it really doesn't make sense. And that's where I kind of draw the line with this figure. This is a Masterpiece figure, and it says it right on the box, and it even shows it with Masterpiece scale. At a $160 price point, it really doesn't make sense that they would include these kinds of materials. You know, you have a lot of translucent plastics down here on the legs, on the back, on the arms. This is mostly translucent plastic, and then the rest is this swirly gray plastic, unpainted. So that really just doesn't scream Masterpiece to me. Now, if it felt really solid in hand, if there was some die cast or it just had that level of quality, I think I could kind of pass it, but for $160, it doesn't make sense. Now, if you're trying to fit this in with your Chugs collection, your retail collection, and you're okay with the price point, or you're able to get this for cheaper, then I do recommend. I think it looks great with the Chug. It actually fits in perfectly. And if you have all the Headmasters, you can really complete that set with all these train bots. So that's really it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.